Justice for Henry Noak. Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking. In the last few days I've been following closely this whole situation, this tragedy slash travesty that is the crime or the loss of the life of a young British man by the name of Henry Noak. The reason why I waited to make this video is because I wanted to collect as much information as possible, but the reality is this: after a thorough analysis of all the data and information available, I've come to the conclusion that this whole situation is a disgrace. I've got something to say to you, Keir Starmer, you traitor to the West, but before we do that, for those who are not aware of the situation, Henry Noak was an 18-year-old University of Southampton student who was murdered in Southampton on the 3rd of December 2025. His killer, Vikram Digwa, stabbed him 5 times with a 21cm Sikh ceremonial knife dagger. The fatal wound was to the chest. Digwa later claimed Henry had racially abused and attacked him, but the court rejected that as false. Now, the reason the case became so huge is not just the fact that the murder itself is, of course, horrific. We need to open a massive discussion when it comes to these weird exceptions that the UK has, one of the most restrictive countries in the world when it comes to bringing a butter knife, literally. But for some reasons, members of this religion, the Sikh religion, oh no, you can carry a freaking sword if you want, not a problem, we got the exception. But if you're a white British woman who is afraid of being, raped by a certain type of people, and she carries a butter knife with her, jailed, you don't do that, no, have you got a license, is what she gets. So we'll talk about that also, because the traitor Keir Starmer, peace will never be upon him, actually did talk about this, the situation about the ceremonial sword and whatnot. Yeah, he did. Of course he did. Of course, we'll get to that. This is going to be intense, and it's going to continue to happen. But I digress. What made this case horrific, and in fact sparked a whole range of, in my opinion, justified protests all over England and the UK, is the following. Henry, who was clearly the victim and was dying because of his stab wounds, is the one who got handcuffed by the police. While being handcuffed, Henry repeatedly told police that he had been stabbed and could not breathe, but officers did not care, which led to his death.
Right, let's get you out of there, shall we? What's happened to you, right? You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? Don't think you have, mate.
I don't think you have, mate. Why don't you lift his fucking shirt? Okay. It continues like this, and then he dies because of it. No treatment for his injuries. They denied the injuries were even a thing. Because, you're white, you're racist, you're the perpetrator, right? Because oppressor. That's what happened. This is what happens with the oppressor dichotomy. Think about that. Police chief apologizes to Henry Nowak's family over handcuffing and arrest. Not enough. Not even close. Chief of the police, aka Sharia law enforcement, your apology means nothing. Nothing. It means nothing. Zero. Null. So, what you need to do is find these officers, these police officers that did this, and prosecute them to the full extent of the law. We don't just want the badges. I was going to say gun and badger, but this is the UK, so it's like whatever they use, lollipop stick and badges. No, that's not enough. It's not just wanting their jobs, which I don't even know if it's the case. We'll read it, but no, these people need to go to prison. You need to make an example of these police officers who did this, because that's the only way if you want to appease the people who are clearly mad about this because one of their own is dead because of this nonsense. So that's just first step. It's not even enough. First step, officers prosecute to full extent of the law for murder. In fact, if anything, they need to be prosecuted even more because there is abuse of power on top of criminal assassination, criminal murder, or killing of this person. So they should never leave the prison for life. Then, of course, maximum full extent of prosecution to the perpetrator. And then we need to start changing the way the entirety of the police force acts towards native British people. So it's not even, these are the main 3 steps. Now, talking about the kind of sentence that piece of shit, that stabbed him got, apparently this is what we know.
A first-year student on his way for a night out who would never make it home. 18-year-old Henry Noak was stabbed
18.
repeatedly on the streets of Southampton by this man.
Piece of shit. Please use the descriptive terms correctly.
Vikram Digwa. Henry's family was in court as he was sent to prison for a minimum of 21 years.
Nonsense. Minimum of life in prison without the possibility of parole. That's how it works. Maximum possible sentence because of the injustice of the police as well. That's like something needs to be added onto it, because do remember, in England, they do increase your penalty if, say, you attack. So imagine that you are attacking someone in the middle of the street. But if the victim belongs to a marginalized group, then they increase your sentencing. That's how it works. Or doesn't, one would say. So, in this case, they need to increase his prosecution by adding the aggravating situation that the law failed to serve and protect the people of this country. Now, I know that there will be people in the comments that are going to say, no, not enough, death sentence. Right, but the death penalty I don't think exists in the UK. So, within the confines of the legal system that exists in the UK, don't you dare call it justice system for a second, but within the confines of that system, maximum possible penalty. No parole, no nothing. His life belongs in jail. This guy should never see the light of the sun ever again. Possibly solitary confinement. That's what I recommend as a form of justice for that. Look at this mother. The father? What? That's what I say.
For us, there is no closure. There is no moment where the pain stops. There is no moment where the Henry-shaped hole in our family is filled. We will carry this grief every single day for the rest of our lives.
In a 999 call lasting nearly 12 minutes, Digwa and his brother claimed that he was the one who'd been attacked that night.
Liars on top of that, lying to the police should aggravate as well. And even if, I'm just going to say, so they have said, the courts have dismissed this accusation of, oh, he was being racist, because of course these days anything you say, if you're like, I don't like the Fanta you gave me, oh, but who's the you? Is someone who belongs to a marginalized, so are you racist? Is that why you don't like the Fanta? So we know that racism is being used for anything, and in this case it wasn't even true. But even if it were, even if this kid said something actually racist to the guy, does that justify being stabbed to death? No. So it's irrelevant. If you don't like the speech of someone, either insult them back or ignore them. It is not a justification. And unfortunately, there are circles out there that say that, well, yeah, but if your speech is violent, then because I consider your words violence, then my reaction of physical violence is justified. And people like that, people that think that. Scumbags, that's what you are, scumbags. Anyways, you respond with speech with other speech. That's how it works. Make it as ugly as you want. Make it as ugly, who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's either ignore it or insult him. But it doesn't justify taking your ceremonial. So let's talk about the ceremonial sword. Let's talk about the ceremonial sword. 1 second. Breaking, Keir Starmer says he won't remove the exemption which allows Sikhs to carry large ceremonial knives on them. Meanwhile, English women are being prosecuted for carrying regular pepper spray on them when out on the streets at night. You know, I don't think I can put it into words, the amount of disgust that this man's face produces within my soul. And that's not all Keir.
It's harrowing. And I've seen the body cam footage.
Right.
It's harrowing. And I have to say, as a father of a 17-year-old boy, I felt sick.
You do? Really? Have you? Then why haven't you done anything about it? Why are you still screaming, oh, the far right is using this? Okay, not true, because what he calls far right are just regular English people and British patriots and just normal people. But whatever, even if it were true and they're using this, you know why they can use it effectively? Because you're doing nothing. It's like the highest degree of victim blaming, and that's what I mean. Check this out. But seriously, what does Keir Starmer say to the people that are rightfully enraged about this awful abuse of power, racism against white people, disgraceful behavior of the police and the officers that were actually supposed to protect and save them. What does he say to the people?
And let me be clear. We will ensure anyone found engaging in disorder meets the full force of the law, as we have done before.
Stalin will be proud. Deploy the tanks, why don't you?
This is a time for serious work, not rage.
I find it fascinating that he says this is not the time for rage, even though him and his governing and government is what caused the rage. They can victim blame all they want. You can victim blame all you want, Keir. You are the one who let in millions and millions of illegal people onto the country. You are the reason why the English and the British in general don't feel safe in their own country. You are the one who keeps blaming the population, calling everyone far right. You are the one who created all of this. Resign! Resign already! The only reason why reform has so much power onto the people right now is your failure. Is that really that difficult to understand? Of course, now the police in Britain is trying to push their propaganda, trying to gaslight you into thinking that this two-tier policing is not a thing, and it's just in your head. Never forget that this is how the British police reacted when George Floyd died, saying he couldn't breathe. And here is the Hampshire police actually explaining what they mean. They say that their commitment to racial equity means, open quotes, producing equality of policing outcomes for people from different ethnic groups by responding to individual and communities according to their specific needs, circumstances and experiences, with understanding that these will be racialized and with the aim of reducing harm. So it does not mean treating everyone the same or being colorblind racial equality. So, in other words, this is a convoluted way to say they will act differently depending on your race, based on whatever the heck the government has decided is the current condition of selected groups. So, in this specific case, since white people are the oppressor, obviously their specific needs are going to be different than, for instance, a marginalized group that is considered to be of a protected nature, which of course means that if you do anything against them, hate crime, but if you do the same thing to white people, not an hate crime, and in fact this devolved into you are handcuffed, but you were accused of being a racist, and when you say you've been stabbed, you're left down to die. This is two-tier policing, and it is the very opposite of everyone is equal under the law. It is shameful, and it's even more so because they're trying to deny it. They think you are all idiots. You are the one who used double standards on the population. You are the one who gives millions and millions of dollars to ensure the protection of Muslim mosques, but does nothing when it's Christians that are being attacked in their own homeland. You are the one who is vilifying what being British even means. You already know what Starmer thinks about English people, native British, when, he just calls you far right. What does he think about Muslims, though?
We must be defiant, because the British Muslim community is not defined by this. It is defined by the success, the brilliance, and the creativity in rooms like this, by contribution that Muslims make to Britain's story and to our national life. That is how it's defined. In business, in art, in education, in public service. You are the face of modern Britain. Face of modern Britain. You are the face of modern Britain. You are all representatives of a Britain that is, by any historical or international standard, a success story when it comes to diversity. That is the Britain I know, that I love, and the Britain that we are.
In other words, the United Caliphate. Did you hear that? Muslims are the face of modern Britain. Like, he literally says it to your face. People are sick of the two-tier policing, which is a fact. You are the one who is putting people in prison for speech. What are we even talking about? Anyways, Chief of Police, let's go. The Chief Constable of Hampshire Police has apologized to the family of Henry Noak for the student being handcuffed and arrested as he lay dying. Chief Constable Alexis Boone told the BBC he was distressed. Or was he? As others have been by the bodycam footage which showed the 18-year-old repeatedly telling officer that he had been stabbed and could not breathe. Nobody cares that you feel distressed. What you going to do about it? Police can be seen in the footage arresting the teenager after his murderer, Vikram Digwa, had falsely claimed he had been racially abused by the victim. Again, who cares? Nobody cares. Asked what he would now say to the family, Boone told the BBC, open quotes, "I'm so sorry you have had to go through this," close quotes. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you say I'm sorry if you order a cheeseburger and a Big Mac and I think the cheeseburger is mine, but it was yours. I misunderstood. I ate your burger, bro. I'm so sorry. That's when you say sorry. This is not I'm so sorry material here. Let's be honest about this. I'm laughing because I want to scream. He reiterated an apology on behalf of the force for the way in which Henry had been handcuffed and arrested. Igwa, 23, was jailed for life within a minimum term of 21 years. This is unacceptable. On Monday for the murder in December. However, Boone, who leads Hampshire and Isle of Wight Constabulary, said he was not going to resign over the matter, of course. I thought he was so sorry, though. Gee, did he actually mean it then? He also said that he would not prejudge the outcome of an independent Office of Police Conduct, IOPC, investigation into the circumstances of the police response. One of the officers in the bodycam video has now left the force for an unrelated reason, and 3 others are no longer on frontline duties, he confirmed. Wait, this is unbelievable, the UK, I swear. And then they are like, oh gee, I wonder why people rage in the streets, must be the far right. So let me get this straight. One of the officers in the bodycam video, which probably means the one who says, "You're not being stabbed, mate," that one just left for an unrelated reason. He's left, so fine. Now he works at a McDonald's. So no repercussions, it seems. And the other 3, desk duty? That's it? They caused the death. What? This is diabolical. This is demonic. Not enough. Oh, but he's so sorry, guys. He's so sorry. I'm so sorry that I ate your burger. And of course, they deny the 2-tier policing claim because they will gaslight you. They will lie to your face. After the sentencing on Monday, Mark Nowak, how can they deny it? They have Islamophobia laws, yet no Christianophobia law. It's illegal to be racist towards a black man or a brown man, but it's not illegal to be racist towards a white man. I mean, this is 2-tier justice, and they don't even call it justice. This is 2-tier policing. There's no question about it. It's just that you like it. You like it that way, but the people don't. And then he said it doesn't recognize the 2-tier police, and it says, no, BBC saw officers day in, day out doing their job for all communities, which is false, which is absolutely 100% false. Do you guys remember the episode that I covered on a video of mine that the algorithm completely blocked? So I'll put a link in the description. Please go check it out. And it was the interview from Piers Morgan. I hope you enjoy your Indian food. Who was actually, in that case, being based for once, because he was interviewing this lady, English lady, whose skull was cracked by a man, and the police arrested her. Not the guy who cracked her skull. Because, I mean, that's homophobia. But there's no 2-tier. No 2-tier, guys. No 2-tier. Okay. She didn't even tell him to his face. She just referred to him in a message. Let's talk about the way you solve this in a peaceful manner. Keir Starmer is first and foremost to resign. But secondly, it's to not blame the people. Is to make sure that you calm their spirits. To calm their spirits, instead of playing Stalin, but you should act swiftly before the population starts causing damage and breaking stuff. But what you should do is act swiftly. Like the moment this happened, Starmer and the whole police department should have calmed everyone down by creating a massive news report and announcement saying, what happened was awful. The officers are all going to be prosecuted for the full extent of the law. We do not tolerate 2-tier policing. We understand that there are definitely cases of officers that do that. Every single one will not only be let go. Again, 3 were just put in desk duty. Are you joking? No, every single officer prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The guy who actually did the murder, he'll never live for life, prison for life. And then we will make sure that anything like this will never happen again. We understand your anger. You are right to be angry. We failed you. This is what they should have done. Instead, they did nothing for the police. They gave him a sentence that is like, for 20 years, maybe we'll see. He did not remove this nonsense, except he needs to remove the nonsense exception for the weapons. Because literally, if he had a weapon, think about it this way, if Henry also had a weapon, because, as a British citizen, maybe he also could have had. If he also had a weapon, he could have defended himself. But he did not have any exception. The other guy did, and so he could carry a weapon. Starmer is causing this. He's the reason why people are being angry and raging on the streets. You can't, it's victim blaming. Justice for Henry Noak. Now. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history.